Dear children, welcome back to Class 5 English Literature class. We are doing the chapter Mr. Perk's Birthday by Edith Nesbit. This is video number 2. So let's continue on page number 55. So the three children, Bobby, Peter and Phyllis, they decided to celebrate Mr. Perk's birthday, though they themselves were very poor. So they decided to buy buns for Mr. Perk's birthday, but buns would not be enough for a grand celebration, so they decided to collect gifts from the villages also, as Mr. Perks was loved by everybody. So first they went to Mrs. Ransom, an old lady working in the post office, but she was really annoyed, got angry, as she was not in favor of celebrating Mr. Perk's birthday, as nobody celebrated her birthday. So her birthday was the next day. Now page number 55. So they went and asked other people. Some of them were very kind and some were rude, and some would give and some would not. It was a rather difficult work asking for things even for other people. When the children got home and counted up, they felt that for the first day it was not bad. So the children, they went to other people also. Some were very kind and some were very rude. Underline rude. Rude means not polite, like Mrs. Ransom. And some would give the gifts and some would not. So it was very difficult task for asking things from people. When the children got home, so they analyzed that for the first day it was not bad. Very early the next morning, Bobby and Phyllis got up and cut a big bunch of roses. They put it in a basket together with a needle book Phyllis had made for Bobby and a very pretty blue necktie. So next morning it was Mrs. Ransom's birthday. So Bobby and Phyllis got a bunch of roses and put it in the basket with a needle book which Phyllis had made for Bobby and a very pretty blue necktie also. And they wrote on the piece of paper, "For Mrs. Ransom with our best love," because it is her birthday, and put it in the basket too. Then they took it to the post office, put it on the counter and ran away before the old woman saw them. So they just put it on the counter, that basket, for Mrs. Ransom, as it was her birthday, and ran away before she could see them. In the meanwhile, Peter told Mother what they were doing. So Peter told how they were collecting gifts from the villagers for celebrating Mr. Perk's birthday. Mother hoped that Mr. Perks would not be offended and think it's charity. Underline offended. Offended means feel insulted. Charity means things collected by asking from others and giving it to the poor. So Mother hoped that Mr. Perk should not think it as a charity and he should not feel insulted. Poor people could be very proud, she said. So underline proud. So poor people could be very proud. Poor people could be very conscious of one's dignity. They might feel bad and feel insulted taking the borrowed things. She promised that she would give things which Phyllis had outgrown for Mr. Perk's children if he wouldn't mind. Underline outgrown, which had become too big for her children. So all those things she decided to give it to Mr. Perk's children on his birthday, if he wouldn't mind. Page number 56. "I can't do much," she said, "because we are poor ourselves." The mother said that they themselves are very poor, so she cannot give much. On the morning of the 15th, the children collected all the things and walked down to the village. They had to go past the post office. The old lady was standing at the doorstep. So on the morning of the 15th, when it was Mr. Perk's birthday, the children collected all the things and they walked down to the village. So they had to go past. They had to go in front of the post office, crossing the post office. The old lady was standing at the doorstep. Mrs. Ransom, she was standing at the doorstep. She stopped them and gave a basket of gooseberries for Mr. Perks. So she gave a basket of gooseberries for Mr. Perks' birthday. She thanked them for their present and said, "You are good little souls." So she thanked these children and told them that they are very good human beings, good children. She also gave them a pram for Mrs. Perks' baby. It had belonged to her daughter who lived only for 6 months. Underline pram. Pram is a small vehicle on 4 wheels for a baby which is pushed by a person. So she gave that pram, which belonged to her own daughter, who was no more, who lived only for 6 months. She hoped Mrs. Perks would find it useful. The children were delighted, underline delighted. They were very happy. All the presents were put in the pram and they wheeled it to the little yellow house where Perks lived. So they moved towards the house of Mr. Perks. When Mrs. Perks saw the present, she gasped and then sat down and started crying. Underline gasped. Gasp means to take a sudden loud breath with your mouth open when somebody is surprised. So she was really surprised to see all those gifts and she started crying. The children were horrified. They were scared. But she stopped as abruptly as she had started and thanked the 3 children. Just then they heard Mr. Perks coming. So she started crying, but she stopped immediately as she had started and thanked the 3 children for bringing those gifts. Thank you. We'll continue